We'll start off with some breathing. Today's breathing, I think, considering the chilly weather, we should do some breath of fire just to get some heat pulled into our bodies. So breath of fire, we use our lower abdomen to squeeze the air in and out quite quickly. So we're going to go in and out through the nostrils, and you just take a deep, deep, deep breath in, a half exhale, and then keep beating with your belly. Okay, so let's go. Deep, deep, deep breath in, half exhale, and go. Deep breath in and exhale. Deep breath in, half exhale, and go. Deep breath in and exhale. Another round, deep breath in, half out, and in and out. Deep breath in and out. I think we'll actually do another 3 rounds. Deep breath in, half exhale, and in and out. Deep breath in, exhale, deep breath in, half breath out, and in and out. Deep breath in, exhale, deep breath in, half out, and in and out. Deep breath in and out. Allow your breathing to come normally, a natural in and out rhythm. Alrighty, so because it's feeling quite chilly, we're just going to jump straight into a bit of movement to get the blood pumping and feel less cold. So come to the front of your mat. We're going to do a bit of a basic Surya Namaskar just to get us moving and get the blood pumping. Make sure you're rooting down nicely in your feet, knees are turning out slightly, bum is activating, hips are tucking under, belly is lifting. We're going to take a deep breath as we take our arms up to the ceiling, feel them being pulled long. Then we're going to swan dive. I'm lacking space, so just imagine you're swan diving into your forward fold. Bend your knees a bit because it's a bit cold, so we're not trying to get into our proper stretch just yet. Bend your knees a little bit more so you can place your hands on the floor. We're going to take our right leg back into our lunge. Hold it briefly, left leg back. We're going to hold our planking position and bounce. Make sure that the tummy stays strong and the arms stay strong, so you're not collapsing, but lifting and bounce, bounce, bounce. Now we're slowly going to come down Chaturanga, Tuck your hips under, feel the tops of your feet pushing into the ground, and push down, lifting up into your cobra, allowing your head to roll up last. Make sure you squeeze your bums, push your hips forward, tuck your toes, and lift into your downward facing dog. Make sure these shoulders are rotated into their sockets, pushing down into the ground. Tummy is lifted, and you're stretching your feet towards the floor. We're going to walk out the dog, bending one leg at a time, stretching the straight leg a little bit deeper into that calf muscle. Then bend both knees, bounce, and get ready to take your right foot back up towards your hands to get back into your lunge position. Hold your lunge just briefly. Bring your left foot together to your right, hang in your forward fold, and then lift up, pulling your arms long, up to the ceiling, and relax your hands down again. Arms are going back up to the ceiling, pulling long, 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 long. Imagine yourself swan diving down. Well, don't imagine, you actually swan dive down. This time we're taking our left leg back, bend the knees, place the hands firmly on the ground, left leg goes backwards into our lunge. Make sure your left bum cheek is activating. Push down in both legs and bounce a little. And in our next bounce, our right leg is joining our left. So we're now in our plank position, bouncing again. Make sure you don't drop in your shoulders or your belly. And slowly down, chaturanga. Push up into your cobra, keeping your chin tucked to your chest until you're fully up. And then you can look forward or start looking up towards the roof. Make sure your shoulders are pushing down and not sitting up at your ears. Tuck your toes up into downward facing dog. Take a little step forward and back into your walking the dog. Walk the dog, walk the dog. Bend both knees, bounce, and get ready to bring your left leg forward into your lunge position. Bounce up and down a little. And bring your right leg forward. Sit in forward fold for a moment. Keeping these legs slightly bent, we're not straightening them just yet. And slowly come up, lifting the arms up towards the ceiling, feeling your body being pulled long. Slowly hands come into your heart center. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Let's take another deep breath in as we take our hands up to the ceiling. Feel yourself being pulled long. We swan dive down towards the floor in our forward fold. Feel your belly sucking up towards your spine. And grab your ankles and start pulling your sternum towards your ankles. Bend your knees, place your hands firmly on the ground, right leg gets sent back. Make sure your right bum cheek is squeezing and keeping this hip active, and you're lifting in your belly, pushing down in your front leg. We're going to let that back knee drop towards the floor and then back up. Drop towards the floor and back up. Drop towards the floor and back up. Drop towards the floor and back up. Push down in your, push down in your hands, lifting in your armpits. The more you push down and lift your sternum back, you can make more space to bring your left leg back into your plank position. In plank position, lift your right leg back behind you. And then go chaturanga down, chest first, keeping that leg up. And then come up into your cobra as you place your leg down. Squeeze your bum cheeks. Feel that sternum being pulled forward. Remember to breathe and try and pay attention to your breath as we work through our practice today. Tuck your toes, lift up into downward facing dog. Take a little step in if you need to. Make sure your shoulders are rotated into their sockets. Belly is lifted. Then lift your right knee up to your chest. Push down in your arms, so that creating that space for your leg to then come through to your lunge position. Drop the left knee down towards the floor and pull it back up. Down towards the floor and back up. Down towards the floor and back up. Down towards the floor and back up. Down to the floor, back up. Get ready to bring your left leg to meet your right foot in the front of your mat. Hang forward, fold. Now try and straighten the legs a bit more, sucking the belly up, trying to pull your sternum down towards your shins. And gently roll up, take your hands up towards the ceiling. Feel your body being pulled long, sucking your belly backwards. And bring your hands into your heart center. Take a nice few deep breaths in. Hands pull up towards the ceiling. Keep your hands together in that prayer position. Squeeze your bum cheeks, push your hips forward, and then we're going to lean over towards our right, imagining that we're creating a little semicircle with our body, the shape of a moon. Slowly go over to the other side. Come back up and swan dive down towards the floor. Legs are now straight, sternum being pulled down towards our feet. Bend your knees, place your hands on the floor. This time left leg goes back first. Make sure you're squeezing this left bum cheek, lifting in the belly. Drop the knee towards the floor and up. Knee towards the floor and up. Knee towards the floor and up. Knee towards the floor. Let it drop down onto the floor. Placing your foot flat on the floor behind you. Lean to your left and push your right leg away from you. Bring that right knee back in to where it was. Place your hands firmly on the floor. Tuck your left foot under you and send your right foot back into your plank position. Now we lift our left leg up. Chaturanga down to the floor, chest first. As we lift up into cobra, that leg comes down. And once we've lifted our bodies so that the chest is pulling forward and the bum is squeezing, we can lift our heads looking forward. Tuck your toes up into your downward facing dog. Take a step in if you need to. Make sure these shoulders are rotated into their sockets. Bend both knees and left leg jumps forward into your lunge position. Right knee down towards the floor and up. To the floor and up. To the floor and up. To the floor and place the front of the foot down on the floor. Lean onto your right hand and push your left knee away from you. Remember to keep your belly lifted. that leg back into its centered position. Place both hands on the floor, tuck your back foot, and bring your right foot to meet the left foot in the front of your mat. Make sure the legs are straight, your belly is lifting up, and you're pulling your sternum down towards your ankles. And up we come, pulling our hands up towards the roof. Get them back into that prayer position. Push your hips forward, and let's lean first to the left, creating that half moon position. And then over to the right. Coming back, hands down towards your heart, and take a few deep breaths in and out. Right, get your feet open to about hip width apart. Make sure your tummy is lifted, hips are tucking under. We're going to lean and focus our balance down our left leg. We're going to lift the right leg up to a 90-degree angle, and then we're placing our left hand on the right knee, pushing the hand down on the knee, and the knee is pushing up. And you should feel your tummy activating even more because you're creating a bit of resistance here. Gently swap over. So now our left knee is pushing up against our right hand is pushing up against that left knee. Tummy is working, tucking under. And gently swap over. Right knee is pushing up, left hand is pushing down. And gently swap over, left knee, right hand. Make sure you're tucking the hips. And swap. And swap. And swap over. So we're now right knee, left hand. And then send that left knee backwards into a high lunge. Make sure you're feeling stable in your hips. Lift in the belly. Take your hands up towards the ceiling. Feel them being pulled up towards the ceiling. Gently go into a back bend, only if you feel comfortable, and just go as far as you can. Come back up and drop that back knee towards the floor and lift up. Towards the floor and lift up. And towards the floor, going all the way down, feeling the stretch in the hip flexor. Keep tucking your hips under. Gently push back up into your lunge position, and then bring your feet back together in front of your mat. Left knee comes up, right hand goes onto your knee, creating that resistance again. And then the left leg goes back into our high lunge position. Make sure you're tucking your hips under, squeezing the back bum, arms lift up towards the ceiling. Go into a back bend if you're able, and just as far as you can go. Come back up to a neutral position. Drop the knee to the floor and back up. Knee to the floor and back up. Knee to the floor and back up. And knee all the way onto the floor. Feeling that stretch in the hip flexor. Make sure you keep your belly lifted and your hips tucked under. Don't go into an arch. Lift back into your lunge and come back to the front of your mat. Hands into your heart and deep breaths in and out. your left leg back behind you, swiveling around so that you're facing sideways on your mat. We're going to start off with our legs a certain distance apart, but don't go to your max distance apart, because we're going to wiggle slowly outwards. But first we're just going to start off feet facing forward. You want to get them parallel so they're not angled outwards or angled inwards. They're just sort of straight. Tuck the hips under, lift in the belly, place your hands on your hips. Feel this lift happening in the quad muscles as you start leaning forward slowly. We're going into a forward fold, but it's a slow movement towards that forward fold. Keep sucking the belly back. Then you're going to grab your elbows, opposite elbows, and hang. Keep lifting in the belly. Release your elbows and grab the insides of your ankles, pulling your sternum towards the floor. So think about the heart coming towards the floor as opposed to the head. Keep belly lifted. Remember to breathe. Take both hands over to the left side of your leg and pull your sternum towards that one shin. Keep your belly lifted. Go over to the right leg, pulling your sternum towards your shin. Back to your centered position. And now we're going to bend the left knee, trying to get a stretch on the inner thigh. It's okay if you don't quite feel it because our legs are too close together. We're going to be opening up slowly but surely. So then we go into our strength. So make sure you're pushing down with that left knee or your bent knee. Let's go over to the right side. Keep belly lifted. Over to the left side. Over to the right. Come back to the center and wiggle your feet out a little bit wider. Lift in the kneecaps and think about your sternum being pulled towards the mat. Lengthen down your spine. So you can see I'm not curling my body and trying to drop forward. I'm lengthening down the spine from the coccyx up towards my neck. Remember to breathe and keep lifting in the belly. Let's go over to the left leg, placing both hands, pulling your sternum towards that left leg. over to the right. Come back to your centered position and bend the left knee. Keeping a strength place as well as a stretch. So you're trying to find the balance and not just flopping, but pushing down in that left knee. Oh, that was me nearly losing my balance. Pushing down in the left knee as well as getting a stretch on the inner thigh. And up and over to the right side. Up and over to the left side. Over to the right side. Come back to your centered point and open your feet a little bit wider. Lean forward, thinking about your sternum coming towards the floor as opposed to your head. Keep belly lifted. Let's take both hands towards the left knee and think about your sternum pulling towards that shin. Remember to keep breathing, keep lifting in the belly. Over we go to the right shin. Come back to your centered point and bend the left knee. You can come all the way down towards the floor this time. And just try and get your stretch on the inner thigh, and your left knee is sort of in a squat position. Now turn your foot up towards the ceiling, so it's flexing up, and hold that position. You should feel a deeper stretch and a different stretch in the inner thigh. Slowly turning your foot back onto the floor, up we go over to the right side. Same idea, coming all the way down onto the right foot, into a bit of a squat with that right leg. First the leg, the left leg, the foot is still on the floor. It's fine if it's lifting gently, but we're not turning it up towards the ceiling just yet. Keep lifting in your belly, sucking your belly up towards your spine. Now gently we turn the foot up towards the ceiling, feeling that change in our stretch in the inner thigh, up the knee. And up we come, back up into our forward fold, grabbing your elbows and just hang. And swing like a pendulum from side to side. Keep the belly lifted. Try and go a little bit deeper in your side to side swing. Slowly bring your hands onto your hips. Push down on the legs, making sure that your knees are lifted. Tuck the hips under. Squeeze the bum as you start coming up into standing. Let's wiggle our knees, our feet back together, back together, back together. We can come and sit on our mats. We're going to start off in our Baddha position, not so that your heels are as close to your forksy or gentleman bonnet as they can get, but rather creating a little bit of a diamond. Tuck your hips under, lift your belly, squeeze your bum muscles to help get your knees towards the floor, and lean forward, interlacing your fingers around your toes, and you're trying to bring your sternum towards your feet. Remember to breathe and try and relax into the position and allow the lower back to open up. Especially if you've been doing a lot of sitting, this helps to create more relief and release in the lower back. Trying to breathe and bring your body closer down towards your feet. Keep trying to pull yourself a little bit closer, opening up the lower back a bit more. And gently come up. Okay, so I'm going to do an exercise with you. We've done it before, but today I'm going to include a cushion. So grab a cushion or a pillow, or even a wrapped up towel will work just fine. It's just to give your hips an extra tuck. So especially for those of you who are a little bit tighter in the hips, this works nicely for our forward folds and going into our like tree-like position and our lotus-like position. So when you're flat on the floor, it can feel quite intense. The moment you add a cushion under your bum, so I'm literally just perching on the edge of my cushion and then stretching my legs out in front of me. So it just helps create more of a tilt, almost helping me reach my feet without it being quite so intense if you're a bit stiffer. If you have no desire to add in the cushion, you just follow along with your bum on the floor. Same stretch. Okay, so tuck your hips under, sucking your belly back. Hands are lifting up towards the ceiling, and we lean up, over, grab your feet, your ankles, your shins, wherever you can get to. And think about that sternum being pulled towards your feet as opposed to your head. Pull a little bit deeper. Gently come up. Pull your left foot up towards your forksy or gentleman bonnet. You can also have it next to your knee or your inner thigh if it's a bit much. Again, this cushion helps us. You just get it into a comfy position so you don't flop right off. You're squeezing your bum to let this knee come down towards the ground. Tucking your hips under. We reach up high. Imagine there's a ball in front of us. We're reaching up and over that ball. And you grab your foot, your ankle, your calf, whichever you can get to. Keep breathing. And gently come up. Now we're going to challenge you a little bit more. So if you are comfortable in this position but not so much lotus, you're going to do the exact same stretch that we've just done. If you're comfortable going into lotus, we're taking our foot up into this hip flexor kind of space. Pull it as close as you can into that hip flexor, and then the knee is pulling down towards the ground. We're lifting in our hips, tucking the belly, and imagine you're lifting up over the ball, or think about lifting up over your foot. Lift up, over, and lean forward to grab your toes, your ankles, or your shin. And slowly come back up. Now we'll do the other leg. Bring your right foot up towards your forksy and gentleman bonnet, or next to your thigh or your inner knee, whichever feels more comfortable. Tuck the hips, lift the arms, feel them pulling up towards the ceiling. Lift up and over that ball and reach for your foot, your ankle, your shin. Remember to keep thinking about your sternum pulling down towards your ankle rather than your head. Gently come up. Again, if you're comfortable just staying in this position, you'll do this stretch again. Otherwise, our foot comes up into our hip flexor area. You try and pull it up nice and high so that it's relatively comfortable, I suppose. Lift up and over that foot or the ball. Arms being pulled up long, and grab your foot, your ankle, your shin. And gently come up, straightening both legs. You can flop off that pillow, cushion, towel, and toss it aside. And then we'll get into stretching our quad muscles a bit. So we're going to do one leg at a time today. So let's leave our right leg straight, left leg, we're pulling up next to us, but the foot is next to us, not under our bum. If you want to, you can move your calf muscle out the way. I like to do that. Tuck your hips under and start leaning backwards. You can come up, down onto your elbows. Make sure that your knee doesn't lift, but rather push your knee down towards the floor, tucking your hips under to help get into the quad stretch. Pushing the hips more forward, trying to get a deeper stretch. And gently come up. Keeping this left leg bent next to us, we're going to now reach for our right leg. So you tuck your hips under, lift arms pulling up high, and grab your toes, your ankle, your shin, whatever feels most comfortable, remembering that we're pulling our sternum towards our ankle rather than our head. In this position, we're going to take our left hand over to the outside of the right foot, place the right hand on the floor, and start turning our body towards the right. Try and let that left hand go a little bit further than it was initially. Gently come back up, and we swap legs. So now our right leg is bending up next to us, left leg is straight. You can adjust your calf muscle out the way if you need to, bringing your knees close together rather than having them split apart. Tuck the hips under, lifting in the belly. You can come down onto your elbows. Make sure that this knee isn't lifting up into the air, but rather pushing down, pushing your hips forward to get a nice stretch in the quad muscle. The more you push your hips forward, the deeper the stretch is. So if you're finding it too intense, you can relax the hips a bit just to get a more relaxed stretch. And then if you're wanting something deeper, you just keep pushing the hips more forward, keeping the knee on the floor. Gently lift up. Lifting in the belly, keeping the hips tucked under. Take your arms up high, up towards the ceiling. Lift over that ball in front of you and reach for your toes, your ankle, your shin. Right hand reaches to the outside of the left foot. You place the left hand on the floor beside you and you're pushing this hand further down that left foot and turning your body towards the left. And gently come up. Unbend the right knee. I'm going to come back into that Baddha Konasana position, this time creating an even larger diamond than we had when we first went. Remember to tuck your hips under, lift in the belly, squeeze your bum to help create this pulling of the knees down towards the floor, and lean forward as far as you can go, thinking about sternum being pulled towards your toes. You can interlace your fingers around your toes and pull your body forward. And just allow your awareness to come into the breath. Pay attention to your breathing in and out, starting to relax more. Trying to drop deeper into those stretch. And gently come back up. And come into your easy seat position. Let's stretch the arms a little bit. We did work them a bit today. So we're going to take our left hand up towards the ceiling, bend it at the elbow. Right hand grabs the elbow and starts pulling it back. So that hand is feeling like it's trying to reach down between the scapulars. Gently release. Right arm gets pulled up towards the ceiling, bends at the elbow, left hand pulls it back. Gently release. I'm cracking away there. Left hand feels like it's being pulled in front of us, long, 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 long. And then we're going to pull it across our chest, keeping the shoulder down, grabbing our left forearm with our right wrist, pulling that arm in towards us, but there's a bit of resistance, so it's not completely just pulled, but there's a slight bit of resistance which helps stretch both shoulders. Release, and let's do the other side. Right hand gets pulled long, comes across your body, keeping your shoulder down so that the shoulder's not up to the ear. Grab it with the left wrist and pull it across, creating that resistance. And gently release. So we are ready for relaxation. So if you'd like to gather up your warm clothes and pop them back on, grab a blankie, a pillow, hop up onto your couch, whatever works for you. And I'll give you a few moments before we begin. And turn the music down gently. So we're going to start with taking a deep, deep, deep breath in through the nose and just allow it to escape out your mouth. In through the nose and escape through the mouth. In through the nose and escape through the mouth. Pay attention to the breath as it comes in and out of your body. Noticing that just by breathing, your body starts relaxing and easing into the floor, growing heavy, releasing tension, and feeling very soft. Notice the feeling of the air as it comes in through your nose, passes over your tongue, down the back of your throat, filling up and expanding your lungs. And notice as it's pushed out, the movement of the chest as it deflates, the warmth of the breath as it comes back up the throat, once again passing over your tongue, coming up the back of your nose and escaping your nostrils and your mouth. Imagine that with every breath, your body keeps growing lighter and lighter And your body slowly starts lifting off your mat and floating up through the roof of your house into the night sky. You're wrapped in warmth, but floating up, almost like you're part of the air molecules. Notice the beautiful stars in the evening sky. Allowing yourself to get wrapped up in the night. Continually breathing in more of that light, fluffy air that keeps you buoyant in the sky. Allow yourself to imagine constellations, bright, sparkling stars that are a little bit bigger and brighter than the others. Keep pulling in more soft air, keeping you light and buoyant and floating amongst the stars. Keep bringing your awareness back to your breath, paying attention to the stars, the feeling that you're being wrapped in the softness out in the night sky. Keep bringing your awareness back to your breath, filling your body with that lightness, floating up in the sky. And slowly your body starts to take its time and gently descending down from the night sky, down through the roof, slowly and gently making its way back onto your mat. Feel the mat beneath your body. Gently inhaling and exhaling as you bring your awareness into your body. Start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Gently stretch out your body. Bring your knees up to your chest, spreading your arms out to the sides. Bring both knees over to the left, giving yourself a gentle spinal twist. And take your knees over to the other side. Bringing them back against your chest, and allow your knees to help you roll up into your seated position. We'll just do one arm together. Hands can be on your knees or into your heart center. Take a deep breath in. Thank you, everyone.